Hi, my name is Cindy Rang with the Fabric Patch in Ephrata, Washington, and this is our 8th class in our row sampler, and it's our 7th row. So the row that we're going to be doing this time is the modern row. So the modern row is probably the easiest one to piece, but for some people it may be the most difficult because modern quilt making is really very abstract, it's very simple, and there's a lot of independent decisions that you'll want to make. So let's look over here for a second. This is another one that I've done, and there's just an irregularity to it. There's also a lot of what we know as background, but in the modern world they call it negative space because they like to do a lot of quilting and do some other things in there. So we do have on your pattern, there is a little bit of a suggestion, but the truth is you're going to make a lot of independent decisions about this. So let's show you how to start. And what we'll do at the end is I have a couple other things I'm going to show you about modern quilting that make it kind of fun. So all you need for this row is one 10-inch strip by width of fabric, and so width of fabric is of course 42 inches from selvage to selvage. And then you're also going to need any of these leftover strange little bits, and so we've got all kinds of stuff from strip sets, other strips, things that we've done, and you're going to use all of these. So what you'll do first is you'll take your 42 inches and you could just cut away, you know, without really measuring anything. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my straight line here and I'm just going to cut. Doesn't matter. Maybe I have a big piece, maybe I have a little piece, maybe I have a tiny piece. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to cut these up. Once I've cut these up, I then have some spots where I can fill something in. So if I look at some of the pieces that I have, that really is not going to be big enough. So what I might do is I might just take another strip. I'm just going to cut a section off of that, maybe sew that onto there. In fact, let's come over here for a second. And let's talk about when we're sewing. And I've mentioned this before, that you want to use your, if you guys have a 1/4 inch foot, this is the one that I like to use. It has a little blade on it. And so as I'm sewing a 1/4 inch, it'll tuck right up next to that, which makes it kind of nice. So put these down here for a second. However, the funny thing is when you're doing modern quilting, you really do have an opportunity. I want to show you how that works. So see, we can butt right up next to that. And we have that perfect 1/4 inch seam because everything is guided up along that foot. All right, so I'm just going to press this seam open, and then what will happen is you see that there's kind of this strange looking strip that really doesn't line up properly, which is okay, because now what I'm going to do is, and if you're lining this up just to be able to keep all of your strips and your seams straight, clean that up, flip this one around. Clean that up. Oh, oops. Okay, then this will fit in here. And you can kind of decide, do you like all of those or do you want to come down? and have more of a long space here? Do you want a regular strip here? Or maybe another one next to it? And one here. It's kind of a fun thing. What you're looking for when you're doing modern quilts is you're looking for an irregularity. You're looking for something that is, again, abstract. You've got a lot of leftover or little bits that you're using up, little bits of color, and a lot of background. And so there's no right or wrong. You can also take other background pieces, and what I can do is, let's see, I'm going to cut off my selvage, and then what I might do is, how big is this strip? And this is, again, just a weird little leftover random piece, so that's 1.5 inches wide. So I'm going to take this, and it doesn't matter where you cut. And then I'm going to go back over to the sewing machine, and I might decide to sew this strip here and here, right? And just put that in there so that it looks like that. So put little bits of color, strips, whatever you'd like to do, and go ahead, and when it's done, you will have strange strips, pieced strips, solid strips. You might have something that is a little bit more uniform, or you might have something that's extremely abstract. But the idea is smaller pieces. I'm going to show you a couple other modern projects. So modern quilting is a free-form style of quilting, so it's not everybody's style. If you are somebody who has to follow a pattern and you want to know that there's a 2-inch square here and a 2-inch by 3-inch strip here, you are not going to like modern quilting. But if you're somebody that just kind of wants to cut and play and you get to trim things off and there's no rules, then you'll love it. I do like it. I like modern quilting because I like just cutting, and as long as it all ends up the right size, I like knowing that what I have created is very different from what anybody else has created. So I'll be interested to see if you like these or not. What you'll notice on your pattern is that we have a picture of our, we have another modern block of the month quilt that we've done. I'm going to show you right here. We did this back in 2014, but the pattern is still available, and you can see that there's all kinds of blocks. And what you can do with these are all some examples of some very modern blocks with a lot of different space involved. And what we told everybody when we were doing that is that if you liked that idea, what you could do is you could turn it into a table runner or a bed runner. You can take any one of the modern blocks or even what you've just created. If you really like that look, you can turn it into a table runner. Some people feel like they have enough seasonal table runners, so I have started making bed runners. So I have a king size bed. You can just keep going. This is a modern quilt block, but you can see that I've used a more traditional fabric for it. So modern quilting is more solids because, again, they're looking for something that's a little bit more abstract, and they like to put a lot of extra quilting on it. But you can use any fabric you like. And what's nice about a bed runner is that if you have a king size bed, sometimes making quilts again and again and again can get super expensive because it's a lot of fabric, a lot of piecing, a lot of time. But if you just make some bed runners and matching pillows, then you can change things out monthly if you'd like to. So this particular one is called Hollywood. It's just a separate one. So again, if you would rather have a pattern that tells you exactly the sizes, this is also available. Or you can have some fun with abstract quilting. So again, This is our block number 7, modern strip piecing. So have fun with those leftover bits, use all of those up, and we'll see you next week.